Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER. How you doing? I'm Michael 7 Michael, and you're watching GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi, fantasy, geek culture. Today we have in the studio
Dayveonne Bussey.
Corey, no catchphrase Davis.
Hi, I'm Cass. Hi.
And no catchphrase.
Hi. You're watching GEEKCASTER, and we got Cass again. And Cass, we're going to talk a little bit about you, what you do in the geek culture, the geek biz, because you're part of the geek biz. And we're also going to talk about a little bebop, because we didn't talk about that in the last show. But more importantly, the big question is, to con or not con? How, and that goes a little bit with talking about Cass as well, the comic book industry. The big question is, hey, how did COVID affect the comic book industry as well as conventions? So Cass, tell us a little bit about what you do and answer that question.
So I worked for well, I don't know if I could say, I'm just going to say. So I worked for Midtown Comics for 6 years. And basically when COVID hit, Diamond, which is the company that distributes all the comics, they had to shut down. I think they're based out in California, and California shut down fairly early. So they were just like, we can't distribute comics right now. Midtown was like, hey, we could do it, pretty much. So UCS, they created another company underneath Midtown called UCS, and UCS was basically distributing DC Comics, and I worked customer service, business to business for them for the past year. And yeah, that's pretty much how that went. So basically COVID kind of changed the way that comics are distributed to comic shops throughout the country.
Wow.
Throughout the world, pretty much.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Now, Diamond is pretty much known as the indie go-to. Like, you know, like if I'm creating a comic, I need to go to Diamond. Has that changed?
So I think that there's a lot more emphasis now on, like, creator-owned comics. Like, I know for Diamond, the big appeal of Diamond, at least in my experience, was that you had, this could be different for other people, but from what I understand, you had Diamond Previews catalog magazine, and it was this big book, huge book, and you had everything that was coming out from Marvel, everything that was coming out from DC, and then Image, and then indie books and smaller publishers and whatever. Now, these days, and this is public information, you could, look it up, but Marvel is being distributed by Penguin Random House. DC is now being distributed by Lunar Distributors. I think they're based in California too. I could be wrong about that. So now you're really only going to Diamond if you want image books or indie books. So if you don't have the big two, I mean, I don't own a creator-owned book, but I would imagine more people are going to like GoFundMe or stuff like that.
Well,
I think
that's a good question to ask you. Is it even worth it? I could just do it myself. I could put it online, or hey, give me order books straightly for me, and I'll just do stuff in my basement. I got the printers, I got everything, I got the whole setup, and then send stuff out. Do I do that if I'm an independent comic book creator? Or no, I still need to go to a third party?
I mean, it really it really depends on what you're trying to do. And this is, me personally, I don't want Diamond coming after me, like, you told people not to come to us,
right.
Please don't sue me, I don't have any money. But, I think especially during COVID, people got so used to, creating their own hustles pretty much. So, I mean, I would. There's a couple of websites I think that you can go to. I know Indiegogo is one of them, and then there's another one that I forget the name of. But you can definitely do it on your own. I don't think you really need these huge publishers to back you anymore. The thing is, though, like, if you're willing to put in the work, because it is a lot of work. You know what I mean? I think James Tinian is going to start doing creator-owned stuff now. Like, a lot of these big names are. So
they're just going to do it themselves.
I think so. I could be wrong, but
you could be wrong. Are you wrong? No.
Possibly. There's a very good chance I'm wrong.
Wow, that's it's exciting though. No,
it is. I think it's definitely easier than ever to break into. Like, if you want to write a comic, put it online.
Now we all go to cons here. So obviously, COVID has changed the way people look at stuff. From what you're saying, that's a huge shift as far as companies and what they're going to push and what they're not going to do. But now, what does that mean for cons? Like, are all of you going to go to comic book conventions coming up? Okay, that's one, and I guess you guys are thinking about it. Oh no, you're definitely going to go.
I'm definitely going to try to go.
Try to go. What about you, Cass?
I want to go, but I'm scared. I've worked New York Comic Con for the last 4 or 5 years, I think it was. And, it's really been very, very, very crowded. Anybody who's tried to get a ticket knows, like, it's almost impossible. So it's honestly, if they do the convention this year, I'm going to be very surprised, even if they require, like, vaccines and stuff, like, I don't know.
Because what I'm hearing about the Jacob Javits said, they're still not telling people it's going to be 100%. What I'm finding out more is still going to be, I think, 30% capacity, still 33 or whatever they said it is.
Wow.
Which is still not it's not a lot. Yes, you have to have, they are asking people to be vaccinated from what I'm hearing. But they still want you to go in with a mask on.
Well, that's easy. I just cosplay is, just cosplay and wearing a mask, whatever. That's the simple part.
For the last year, we've all been cosplaying Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Say that.
It would be smart to just have, like some of the other, like, automotive and tech companies, they have press days, because that would limit certain, interactions and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm not going to say which events, but I will not be going every day like I've done in the past. I know that for sure. That I could say, guarantee I will not be going every day.
Wow.
I don't think you should risk every, like, so, but we'll see. And Dayveonne's right. What if it doesn't happen? They say, yeah, we're going to do it, but I just saw 2 huge conventions, one food related and automotive convention that is, like, one of the biggest in the world, and they both said we're not doing it.
Well, that was because I could tell you why the automotive said they wasn't doing it, because when they basically made the announcement about how they was going to set it up, it was so last minute to the point that they have no way to maneuver, because they was at 100% capacity with the automotive, but New York Comic Con was at 33% capacity. So when they found out about it, Comic Con could make the adjustment, but the automobile show was not able to.
Well, I'm not sure about New York, but Chicago Auto Show just happened, last month, a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
And they had press day, and I think they were 40-50% capacity. I'm not sure of the numbers, but they made it happen, so it's possible.
Yeah, but New York is way more crowded.
Yeah.
Like, just in general, like, everyone knows about New York. People fly in from everywhere to go to New York. It's almost as big as I thought it's bigger than San Diego now. You know.
Now it is, yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely gonna go to smaller conventions. Like I think Big Apple's coming up. I'd like to go there. You know, just to like test the waters.
I think a lot of people have that view too. Let me go to. I don't know. It's such a. I guess it's a gambling thing. Well, if I'm around a smaller amount of people, but all it takes is one person, like one person to catch you out there. So I don't know. And I say this not as a negative thing, but is something wrong with us that we would still go? Do we love this stuff that much that is it really worth it?
Can I say something about that? I think what it is, it's nothing wrong with you going to the conventions. We understand with the situation we're in, laws they do it in the safety measurements in a way that they can make the people feel comfortable going. And that's all it's about. Making sure the audience, making sure their people that goes to these events are comfortable. If they don't feel comfortable, that's when you may have to make adjustments and make people be able to want to go. It's just like a product. If someone doesn't like the product, you make adjustments.
Well, let me ask you this. See, I'm just posing the questions, folks. But if you want to hate, you can just leave a comment. Is it really about people feeling comfortable or people being safe? Like, are people getting to the point, I'm just going to do stuff so people will feel comfortable? The sensors, they throw in that bug in the computer. They don't want me talking over here, over there. I don't know. What do you think?
I think part of the issue is being safe, but also comfortable. It's like, I want my people to be safe, but at the same time, we still want people to feel comfortable. So it's like a 50-50. Like they want safe, but also they want comfortability as well, because we're also going to put the big elephant in the room. How many times are we going?
And he muted himself.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's pretty cool.
I don't know how.
And he's cracking up. Like he really thinks that he got us with a singer there. Like his head is shining. Look at the dimples. Again. It's crazy. It's crazy. Look, he's breaking it down even further.
Oh man. Maybe does he know we can't hear him? But
we can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
That was. Hold on a second. That was like awesome. I got shots fired on that. That was amazing. I got to give him an explosion on that one. Okay.
So I got to rewind, right?
No, we got you. No, I'm sorry. We should also be like, yep. That was great. Totally, yeah. I see where you're going there, Sparky.
But it's like, how many times people that have been going to the conventions that were sick and just quit?
You'll never know. Well, that's the
you won't
thing.
Know.
Because
yeah, exactly.
You want to respect people's privacy, and do you want to get to the point where everyone is showing up with here's my card, here's this special ID, you know, and then also, you know, the other side of it is like, people have a right to not get vaccinated, not participate, but then, you know, it comes up with all these questions that now become political. Or it really shouldn't be politicized, but it has been with people's choices and stuff.
I think it's people's choice. Like I said, like I agree with you. It's always a people's choice, you know. But at the same time, either you do it or you don't. But there's consequences for both ends, whether it's good or bad.
Right. Because if someone else is doing everything they allegedly supposed to do, and following CDC and all that other stuff, and someone else is like, yeah, you know, how do you do that? Corey, you're in the medical field. You should have an answer.
I do have an answer. That's all I was trying to interject. But it's a fine line, right? It's a different disease. It's not like you go to work and your coworker has a cold and your immune system can fight that cold, this is a different disease, so it's completely. It's just different. It's nothing we've seen before in our generation. I don't know. I think there's a fine line between going back to normalcy because people go to football games where they're safe. There hasn't been a big uptick. But then at the same time, how do you keep everyone safe from, like you're saying, I don't want to get the vaccine because it's my choice, but I still want to return to a state of normalcy. How do you balance both worlds? And I think
how does that, just to bring it back, like how does that affect the convention world? And also I think most of the people that go to comic book conventions, I would think are a little bit more open-minded. I mean, we've seen this in so many films, in so many movies, and so many comic books about post-apocalyptic and, but Cass is like, no, let me tell you.
Like, me and Cass is like looking at each other like, yeah.
Cass, is there a difference between the fans and the business people, I guess? Because the business people think different?
It's hard to say because, I've dealt with people now, comic shop owners from all over the country, from all over the world. And, I'm not going to, say what everybody's views are, but I will say that there are very different views in, different parts of the country. People have their own opinions, you know what I mean? And that's fine. You can have your opinions, but at the same time, like, you can have your opinions as long as you're not putting anybody else at risk. I think that's where you're, it's a fine line. It's a really fine line. And the thing is too, like, it's like you said, man, it only takes one. It takes one dude to show up with COVID, especially at a place like New York Comic Con where we're crammed in like sardines. Like, I don't know if you went in 2019.
Yes, I did.
So you remember people like squeeze. You couldn't get to a booth. Because people were up each other's butts the whole time.
And it was every day for the first time.
Yeah,
because it's
even Sunday.
Even Sunday was like ridiculous. Well, I remember one year in the beginning it was ridiculous, and Sunday was cool, and then it was like the reverse one year. But it usually ping pong. Sunday's usually relaxed because all the cool stuff is already bought up. But now
it's like... that, it's like you had your Thursdays who's not really busy, now all of a sudden they're busy.
Yeah. Because that was considered kind of a press day.
Yeah.
Well, now people are taking off work to go to Comic-Con. You know what I mean? That used to be like, oh, if you like comics, you'll make it a point to go. Now it's everybody. People see, whatever it is, whether it's Deadpool or Justice League or whatever the heck it is, and that's cool. Like, obviously, like, the more the merrier. But now the convention's so crowded, and it puts more people at risk for this disease, you know?
Right. So now let's play a game called Predictions. GEEKCASTER Predictions.
Virtual. I'm going ahead of the game. Virtual.
Virtual. What happened?
I'm just going to jump ahead of the game. I'm saying virtual.
Virtual?
Just go ahead. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I've seen some of the efforts to have virtual events. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's the whole point is to connect with people. It's really that connection of that love for these things, and the creators connecting with the creators, connecting with the fans. I like that. Well, I like that too. Wow, we have this joy in liking these things together for that moment, and then you go home and go back to your regular life, and then you can't wait till next year where you can have this Disney World-esque feeling again, right? But you just have it locally. The magic's starting to go away because it's become so commercialized. But anyway, the virtual part, I feel like I could just watch YouTube or commercials and like, I don't know.
Right, I get that, but I think that's pretty much the point, right? We're all fantasizing about the past. We're not really thinking about the future, so we have to look towards the new life. And the person you want to meet may have the views like, I don't want to get vaccinated because, I'm at risk. But you still want to meet that person. So how do you find a middle ground?
And that's the virtual, getting through the virtual experience. Okay.
And not only that, it's like when they do virtual, I'm a person that likes to look for stuff. I like to get the freebies. I like stuff like that because it's, it's just entertaining. Not only that, it's just like I like to give memorabilia to people that wasn't able to, so I can basically say, yo, this is the place to be. I maybe give you this just to let you know, look, this happens once in a while, you can make it. But when you do virtual, it's more isolated to the point where you don't even want to do the virtual thing no more. You don't even want to be on the screen looking, like you said, Mikey. It's more like looking at YouTube. Like, look at what they're doing with the games, like the game trailers with the EBCon and Video Game Con. You're looking at YouTube videos, just hope and pray that one of your favorite games or your companies make the game you want to come out.
And I think it works for games. It works for games, but I don't see that working for someone that actually wants to pick up a physical comic book, or you're just a huge fan of whatever it is and they just created a whole bunch of toys, that be able to see them touch. And how many times that you went to Comic-Con or any other convention, New York Comic Con or Big Apple or even Anime NYC, and you're like, oh, I never saw that before. I wasn't looking for that before. There's something that you come across that you might fall in love with, or you meet someone that's so excited about something. Did you see the da 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 da? And you're like, what do you know? And they introduce you to another fandom. You're not going to get that with the virtual.
Right.
Right. But the same, I don't know. I still see it as just making a smarter choice, because all that memorabilia that people are going after, who knows, the person who packaged that didn't just all over
true too.
It up. But they did it before this whole thing.
Right.
So, it's a huge difference now, and that's what we have to concentrate on now.
Are we going towards, what was that movie? Player One? Is that's what's going to happen? Everything is going to be this, as diseases keep growing.
So the thing I've had an issue about Ready Player One, there was an anime called Sword Art Online. And basically what it was is you had this whole bodysuit. You laid in your bed and you were immersed into the virtual world. That was so much better than reality. I think we were going to get there inevitably with how technology has been evolving, but this just made us take leaps and bounds of getting there.
Getting closer, yeah. In a way, it doesn't really matter if things get worse or become something else that's worse. Then, Corey, you're right. That's the future. That's it. That's what's happening. Things get better, we're gonna go back. I think people like going, they like cosplaying, they like the experience. You can't beat that experience. To the point where every other month, Cass, we spoke about this, it got to a point before COVID where every 3-4 months there was another convention popping up. Like, there was all like, I'm doing a convention, I'm doing a convention, I'm doing a con, I'm doing a con. Like, really? Like, so you literally had a con a month, 2 or 3 cons a month that you could choose from all year round, versus when I first started going, you only had 2 or 3 choices and that was it. But it made you salivate all year round. I can't wait to the next con. I can't wait for that experience. Oh my goodness. Hope I get a ticket.
I think that there's, I think it's the same reason that people still go to comic book shops when you can read comics online. People like that feeling of community. They like that feeling of like, hey, I'm going to go. And like, I went to my local shop today and I just hung out there for like an hour and a half, just talking about comics. You know what I mean? It's you're not going to replace that But not to completely crap all over, virtual cons. Like, at this point in history, it could be the smarter choice depending on how you feel about your health. And the other thing is too, like, not for nothing, but cons are kind of expensive. Like, have you seen a ticket to New York Comic Con?
Yes.
They are so expensive.
They
like,
shot up.
Like, if I hadn't been working in 2019, I probably wouldn't have gotten a ticket because who can afford that? And that's on top of, what Grail book you want to buy that you see. Lord forbid you collect Funko Pops. Those things are, you know what I mean? So, I think it also, I don't see a reason why we can't just do both. It's like that commercial.
You made a good point, because things will only become more expensive because they can't have that many people. I think there's going to be a limit on people in general for the future.
But that's why we get stimulus checks.
Oh, wow.
That's true. It's true. But it's also like, I don't know where you guys are located, but I'm here in Queens, you know what I mean? It's real easy for me to get on the 7 train, take it 25 minutes to the Jacob Javits Center, spend the day, and then come home. Some people, where do you live? Arizona or, the UK, or sometimes it's just not that easy to find a convention, especially a big one like NYCC. So, it reminds me of that, like, do you remember that taco commercial? Like, do you want hard or soft? Like, ¿por qué no los dos? Like, why can't we have both? You know what I mean? So I think if anything, it's just opening more doors for people, like making it much more accessible to anybody with internet access. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, this is the end of our show, kiddies. So what did we learn? We learned that you could have it both, just like a taco commercial. All right, Cass, give everybody your social media.
You can find me on Instagram at CASSUALTY, Casualty.
And Dayveonne.
Dayveonne Bussey on Instagram, Facebook, and Shamal Williams on Twitter.
Corey.
You can find me, Corey Davis, at IamGT3 on all the things.
And you can find me, Michael on IG. Of course, you go to GEEKCASTER on IG, go to GEEKCASTER.com or Facebook GEEKCASTER Network. But hey, just go to GEEKCASTER.com. You can watch these shows. If you're watching us on cable, that's awesome. But hey, take some time and check it out. Check out our YouTube and all that other good stuff. And hey, we love bringing this stuff to you, these different conversations. Anything you want us to talk about in the future, we definitely could do that, from technology, gaming, anime, anything geek culture, even geek relationships. Hey, let's talk about it. Let's get together. Let's love. The world's ending. Good time to love each other. So let's just move forward with that. But it's not ending. It's beginning. It's beginning.
No, stop it.
That's awesome. But yes, on a serious note, whatever you guys decide to do, if you do go to cons, please be careful. Please wear a mask.
Stay safe.
Try to social distance, whatever guidelines, whatever like that. Whatever we can do to keep everybody safe and figure out what that actually means. Awesome. Now, Cass, you get to have the end of the show and you get to dance with us. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.